Hi guys, Dave Schopius here. Welcome to my robot lab. In my last video, you saw me making and putting together the radar section and the collar. It's now motorized, but I don't have any wiring run up into it or motor control. So my next step is to build the bubble and the brain. And that is what I'm doing over here. This is the old, as I mentioned before in a lot of my other videos, I'm rebuilding and refitting this old guy. He came to me from a robot fan, a B9 robot fan that really wanted to have a nicer robot than he had when he sent it to me. So I'm refitting it and redoing it the best I can with what I had. And he's turned out pretty good so far. Check out my other videos to see what I've done up to this point and what he started out like. So anyway, this is the brain that I got sent to me. I've taken it apart and disassembled it. It was in one piece but in poor condition, so I took it apart and saw what I could salvage, and I really couldn't salvage much. Inside was just a pile of wires and some LEDs stripped together. Then the outside was just cardboard that they had cut the patterns into, and I got one cat eye with it. So I contacted a friend of mine, Craig Reinbrecht. He sells and supplies a lot of parts. This he had a couple of these left, so I grabbed them before they were all sold out. This is a new cat eye, basically. It actually is two of them. I have two now. Cut them apart, trim them up, put the diffusers in, and this is to block the ambient light from coming through the real cat eye. So install those in my new brain over here that I got from Craig also. I believe this was put together and assembled by Greg Loge. So this is just a work of art. Beautiful stainless steel top with the holes cut in it. And the only thing, these holes are where the crown goes, and there's three lights that stick up. The only really thing I was able to salvage from this pile here were these lights sockets that go up through those holes. Right there is where I took them out of. And a little bit of wiring and stuff. They go in those three holes there. So this is just beautiful. Look how shiny that is. The body is just also gorgeous. Greg did a great job of putting this together. There's the holes where the cat eyes will go. And inside I have Tom, I can't say his name, Wazlewski I think it is, Tom W., his light board kit and his light controller. And then this is a Easy B IO Tiny that's going to control the lights and the light effects and things. This is also a voltage regulator that's going to go, I'm going to try to mount all these in here, just like kind of like you see them now. But this is the controller, the voltage regulator. It's not a controller, it's a voltage regulator that drops the voltage from 12 volts down to 3.3. That's going to be running these sensor ears. There's a little motor inside there, and the sensor dishes come up, stuck up, and rotate around like a little radar. Pardon me. So I'm coming up, I have to line the bottom of this light kit with some plastic, some Alexa, I think it's like acrylic, Opex acrylic sheet. So the back of this doesn't short out to the middle of this brain. And the same way with these, I think what I'm going to do is put a sheet of acrylic on the bottom of that thing and maybe fit one to the top, so all this stuff can just mount on top of these, on top of this light kit, and I can run the power up through it, and it'll be a beautiful thing. I did this once before in my other robot, my personal robot I built. The other thing I want to show you is the this came also with the old robot. That's where the bubble sandwich is into. This is junk. I'm going to probably salvage this flange. And this flange, it sits kind of like that. And the lights sit on top of it. These are the finger lights. And that will mount underneath the brain. That'll go, not that, but this will go on top of here. It'll mount on top of that. So it's going to be good. That's where I'm at right now. This neck pipe actually comes out of that hole right there. So that's where I'm at right now. I am going to start working on this brain and mounting all that stuff like I described. It's going to be a challenge, but I've done it before, and it's going to be fun. So we'll be back as I make progress. Have a great day. Just stay tuned. So let's see where I'm at now with fitting all this stuff into the brain pan. So it's a really tight fit to have everything in here I want. Basically, all these components are going to be going for controlling the lights in this brain pan and the special effects. Here's my IO Tiny from Easy Robots. It's got a little, that's a speaker, so you can hear it come on and off. Basically, this is the 2 relays that will control or turn on and off the light effects from Tom's board, Tom W's board, his light board here. And the IO Tiny will be controlling these relays, and that'll be for the going dead routine when you pull a power pack, and make the make the lights run really fast when you want them to be angry or thinking or something like that. And of course, here's the cat eyes. He has extra lights here for those on his brain. This is on his control board. So anyway, this brain pan here, I'm going to call it, is metal, steel. And of course, down here, this big triangle of lights underneath here is Tom W's brain kit with all the LEDs on them. And the bottom of that is just traces that are bare. And I don't want those to short out to this metal. So what I did is I cut a piece of Lexan, a plastic acrylic basically, like you see here on top. I made one a little bit bigger to go on the bottom, so it's resting on that, and I've got it basically zip tied on. And then I have another piece of plastic here, Lexan, and it's I have holes drilled in it to strap the component, the electronic components down to this plastic so it doesn't short across the traces of the light board down there, which keeps everything nicely electrically isolated. This is the IO Tiny that's going to capture the commands to the computer over Wi-Fi and tell the light board what to do through a relay on and off. And here's the light board. And like I said, I have 2 effects I want to turn on and off, so that's what those 2. I have another little device down here. It's just a voltage regulator. It's powered at 12 volts. It'll be turning the ears on and off, the sensor dish ears. That's the ones up there that you see here. Basically, when this radar turns, the bubble will turn. That's why I want all this stuff up in the brain pan, so that'll turn at the same time inside the bubble. You don't have to worry about any joints twisted and catching all these wires. You see all this stuff. So it's a lot of wires to be going down in the torso, so I want to keep as much as possible up here. Now, I need another relay. I need to fit another relay in here. It'll be half the size of these, and I have just enough room in here to put it if I take this thing out. So that'll be unplugged. That'll come off. Then I had to desolder this little barrel here and solder a couple pigtails on there, power pigtails, just like you see here. So that'll come off, that barrel will come off, and that'll give me, I'll put a couple pigtails on there, that'll give me power in when I hook it all up. You can see I got a big hole right here, and that's just big enough for a one relay I got coming yet in the mail. The other problem I have is, and that's not a problem, I've got that figured out. If you can see, Tom's board is big, and those connectors here stick way up. So when the brain lid sits on there, it will sit up a little bit. And I'm going to try to reduce that as much as possible. I think I can take it right down to where it's supposed to be, because if I get rid of these plugs here and these header pins down here, I can, and this is low enough where that lid will lay right on where it's supposed to and close this all up. So to do that, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to pull these plugs off, take these header pins off here, and go to the back and desolder the header pins with my little Hakko desoldering iron here. That thing's really nice. So that'll help me take those header pins right out, and then I will take these wires and solder them directly into the holes that are left over after I get the header pins off. That'll place those wires right down on the surface. I can get rid of this big bulk right here. You can see I've already laid back the transistors. So, and then what I'll have to do is take these four and these four and tie them into the 8 wires inside of this. And I'll do that with Molex connectors, so it's easily removed. So that's what I'm doing next. I will come back after I get the header pins off and this pigtail soldered on, after I take that barrel off of there and everything is tied down like these are. Okay, we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, I've made my modifications to these 2 boards to give myself some more room inside of the brain of the B9. I pulled the header pins off. You can see them right there off of Tom's board. And that really, after I soldered down the wires that I cut off of here, I just matched them up and soldered them into the holes. It looks pretty good, and it really makes a nice low profile. So I'm sure I can get that between that. I'm sure I can get the lid down now on top of the brain. That should give me just enough after I bend down those transistors like I did. So it's a flat board now. And then the EZB IO Tiny from Easy Robots, I made that little modification. I took off this barrel, power barrel, and this big ass thing here. Don't need that no more. Just I took off and put the piggy tail power leads on there. That was not an easy mod. I don't know what they make this little board out of, but it doesn't lend itself to solder. So I had to pull out my little skills and make sure everything was soldered in properly and nice and firm and nothing was touching. So okay, I'm going to cut away now and install these back into the brain, and maybe I'll get everything wired up. See you soon. Okay, I wanted to show that everything's in, and it's going to be just fine. That low profile from Tom's board now with those header pins gone is going to allow that lid to come down just about all the way. I think those relays back here are going to be up just a touch, but that's okay. But you can see it's all in now except for that little relay I need to turn on and off the voltage regulator for the ear sensors. And now that I have the EZB IO Tiny modified, there's a big space in here and ready to accept that single relay that's coming in the mail later today. So I'm going to stop this and put the lid on. I got to wind all these wires back up in there and show you how nicely it fits. I'll be right back. Before I put the lid on, show you how nicely it fits, I just wanted to show you that I've started wiring up the relays here for the special effects of Tom's light board. As I mentioned before, these little holes down here, you can put wires into them or put a header pin in for different light effects, and every hole is a different light effect. So I'm only using two, thus the two relays. And basically what happens is when the I don't have a wire on this side yet, but when the I/O Tiny sends a signal to the relay to close, this relay will close. You have a normally closed side and normally open side, and I'm wired to the normally open side, and the center is ground, so that's that green wire going to his board back here, ground. And you want to use that ground and not one of the other grounds on the system, because if you do, you'll burn up these chips. So using this ground, the green wire, I've got a daisy chained over to both of them. When it closes, it'll make one special effect light, which would probably be the dying effect, as when you pull a power pack, the lights slowly turn off. The other one is they run really fast, so it's the same pattern, only it runs really fast. So those are the only two effects I want, and so I only have two wires coming out. So that's really all I'm going to say about that. You have power going into here, and then your two signal wires from the I/O Tiny will come. This side is power, DC plus and minus, and these are 12 volts. And then you have your signal wires coming over from, which is the white side here of the I/O Tiny. Okay, so let me put this top on here, and I'll show you how nicely it fits. And there you go. See, it lays in there really nice. Couldn't really ask for much better than that. It's up just a touch, but it's just a sliver, and you'll never see that. And that's because of that relay over here. Okay, my next feat is going to be wiring all that stuff up in there, making sure it's working. Put the lights up on top, getting those wired in. And I also have to get the finger lights all wired into that matrix also. So I'm going to have to mount this on the bottom of this, and then run the wires and get them all wired together with the proper diodes and stuff. Okay, so that'll be my next task. I'll be back at you after that. I'm back, and I wanted to stop building for just a little bit and kind of catch you guys up on my progress so far. I've done a lot of work. Things are coming along nicely. I've got the inside brain panel, and all the boards mounted on top of Tom's light kit. You can see there's a light kit on the bottom with the plastic I showed you guys, the acrylic plastic sandwiching in between, so there's no contact with electrical shorts. I've got Tom's light board mounted here on top, and this is the double relay to operate the two special effects that are wired in through this spot right here. There's like 5 or 6 special effects that this board can give, but I only wanted 2 of them, and that was the kill routine where everything goes black when you pull a power pack, and the really fast racing red lights. So that's why I only need to have 2 here. And basically, like I mentioned before, it's just I have a ground. The green is ground, and it's just grounding. The effect this relay closes and grounds across there and turns on the special effects. Now this over here is the, like I said before, the regulator for the ears, the sensor ears, and it's just on off. The wires will go down to the ears here. They come off the side of the board, and the power is wired into the main power circuit I got here. However, the hot lead goes through this other relay, so what this one does is acts differently. This, instead of grounding it, or what it does is opens and closes the circuit on the hot leg. So it's really simple, just like flipping a switch. This is the EZB IO Tiny, and it'll connect to my computer through Wi-Fi, and I can control these functions or let them happen automatically with scripts. And here's the wires coming down to control those functions. The on-off switch for this one is here, feeds in for the control, and the control over here through the IO Tiny. So it's really pretty simple. And now the other thing is, as you'll see down there, is a speaker for the IO Tiny. And that's simply, you can send voice clips to that if you want, but I have a big speaker mounted back in the robot that's going to be operated by a different EZB control board. So this one will just let you know when it's connected to Wi-Fi, and it's kind of important to hear that. So when you first turn on the robot, once it gets connected to Wi-Fi, it'll say I am connected to Wi-Fi. So it's pretty simple. It's pretty cool. I still have some wiring to do yet. These will plug into here and end up being tied into this. And this is the connection between the board and the lower light boards here that gives those patterns. I still have to wire in the lights for on top of the brain, and those will be these over here. There's 3 lights that come through these 3 holes here. I got to put diodes on those yet, and also the finger lights down here need to be tied in to these wires too, and also diodes put between these finger lights in here. So the other thing I did, okay, that's it for the wiring. I still have a lot of work to do yet. These are the lights for the eyes. I'm sorry, the eyes, the cat eyes, and that whole thing will sit down in there. So, like that. This is also what else I've done. I've got pretty much, I had to rebuild. I've got the bottom on here. These bolts are in here just temporarily. I took it all apart, tested these light sockets, they all work. You can probably see the Google gobble of wires in there. I still got to pull those down and attach them, like I said, to the light board. So the other thing I had to do is I had to rebuild this whole neck part. Basically, this is what it was here. And it's just a mess. It was too small. This was too small to fit. It didn't come all the way out. So I just gonna trash this stuff here. I got new parts. I cut a piece of fiberglass plate out of some fiberglass I got from eplastic.com, and it's nice and thin. It looks good. Cut it and sanded it down nice and round. And this bottom bubble plate I got from Craig Reinbrecht, and this is really sweet. It comes with the holes already pre-drilled. So I luckily found 4 holes that were already drilled on this brain cup, the steel brain cup, and I just threaded them. I cleaned them out, threaded them, and matched it up with the other side and drilled the holes into fiberglass. So it's pretty sweet. Works really nice. And that's about it for now. I need, like I said, I need a lot of work left to do. I'm going to wire all this, finish all the wiring up, and this will eventually slip down over this with a piece of PVC through there. And I think I'm going to use, this is Wilhoff's neck boot, by the way. Another piece of art. There'll be a piece of PVC in here for the neck, and this will split it, and this will be a nice place to remove the bubble, I think, with just one bolt through the neck here. That'll be hid by the boot. So pull the boot down, pull the bolt, the whole thing will come off. And what's nice about it, there'll only be one set of wires coming up through here that's got to be disconnected. They're coming down through here, it's upside down. And that'll be the 2 power wires. I'll put some Anderson power pins on there, and then when you lift that and separate it, you'll just separate those power pins and walk away, because everything else is above the rotation point up in the brain. So that'll be kind of cool. All right, well, I'm going to go back to work now, and I will stop when I get some more to show you. Stand by, more to come. I'm back for a second. Something else I want to show you that I discovered I was taking this apart just a minute ago is, well, this is the part basically that you saw that holds the sandwich, is the clear bubble bottom in. So once that's all together, whoop, that's what I want to show you. Once that's all together and bolted down, it should all be nice and secure, because of that flange. This is all metal. This flange should be welded on there or pressed on there or something, but it is not. It just slips right off. So if I have it in the bubble and this is all tied together, one little bounce and the whole brain will come off and bounce around inside the bubble. So I need to, and you can see it's nicely built. It was milled like that. So I need to find a way to put that together and keep it on there. I'm thinking about maybe just simply running some JB weld around here, around there, pushing it together, and then cleaning up the joint. I'm gonna have to paint all this anyway because it's the wrong color. You can see the brain pan is a gunmetal, and whoever painted this painted the silver, which is the wrong color for that anyway. So I think I'll JB weld that together and rough all this up. I got to sand these knobs down, and then I can paint it all. After I put the JB weld in here and clean it up, I can paint it all gunmetal. So just a little something I wanted to show you. I'll be back and we'll see how it turns out. See you soon. Before I install the brain lights with all those boards and stuff on them and get all the wiring down through the throat of the neck, I had to do a little prep work in here, because once it's done, I don't know if you can see it or not, there's a diffuser film that wraps around the inside. There, you can probably get a good shot of it right there. I got that from Craig Rainbreck also, along with so many other parts. And the idea is to have that diffuser keep those lights from shining through in bright spots. It's a horse apiece in your personal preference whether you want it or not, but I think it's a nice effect. On my personal robot, I don't have this strip in there. Didn't know it was available, if even it was, when I built mine. But it's a nice thing that Craig has added to his arsenal of parts for the builders. Also, I said earlier that I had to put the cat eye lenses into eye lenses. I've installed that too, because once, again, that board is in there with all those lights and control boards, I won't be able to get in here and do this tight stuff. And I did it a little differently. He gives you a little black patch with a hole cut in it, so the light is focused. I didn't use that. I took his diffusers that he gives with his kit, and once I ran the film around through here, I stuck the like hot glued rather that diffuser on it, so when that little cat eye right there sits down in there behind it, it'll hit that diffuser plate and diffuse it. I also installed the plastic lenses, and you can see there's a I don't know if you can tell, there's a little bit of a distance between the back film and the diffuser and the lens. I'm hoping then that'll give it like a sense of depth. So looking at it now, it looks that way, and it doesn't look as bright white either when all the lights are off, when it's behind the diffuser and set back, if you know what I mean. That diffuser is so white. I just didn't like the way it looked through there. Now it's a little more opaque, a little softer white because of the film. So something else I'm thinking about doing is maybe once I get everything in there, I can change the color of the lights. Some guys like blue eyes up there, red or whatever. I just put some colored cellophane back in here, just set it down in there, and that'll instantly change the color. It's really effective. So that's that. So my next step will be installing the boards in there. I'm ready for that now. I'll be right back. More to come. I've taken this thing out to the garage and I made the modifications I said I was going to. I glued that plate on there with JB Weld. It's more of a putty than a glue. And I used a little bit of alcohol to fit it down just a touch so it would lay in that joint. Then I put it on there. I had to kind of hammer it on, so it's on there tight. Let it sit up. Did a little bit of cleaning up with sandpaper and whatnot, and put it all together just to test fit it with the bottom plate for the bubble. And this is Will Hoff's bubble lifter boot, and I just stuck it on there just to make sure it would fit after I and how it would look. So after I did my sanding, it just slips on there, and you can see if you compare it to what I had before, I cut the profile down about 3/4 of an inch, and I still have, you know, a lip in there to glue the pipe into. Found some good bolts and put it all together. So now what I need to do now is take it all apart, and I believe I'm ready for painting now. So it's coming along good. After the paint, I'll start doing the final touches for wiring. All right, hang around. It's getting good. See you soon. More to come. I'm out in the garage. I just thought I'd cut away from my work and just show you where I'm at. I've got all the parts I need on this brain cup and the top of the brain pan ready. They're cleaned up. I got them all painted with the first coat of primer. It's self-etching primer. That's the even the screws that are going through the holes up into the cup. I am priming and painting, and that is the underneath here is the top of the brain pan. And I wanted to get the little plastic lights that I had attached to it, pardon me, the plastic light bases anyway, primed and painted also. I just used some old scrap light bulbs to screw into the sockets to keep the paint from going in there. So anyway, and this is just, I just got that stuck in there, this pipe stuck in there to keep the glue joint clean too. So anyway, what I'm using is I like using Duplicolor self-etching primer. It goes into metal and fiberglass really good. Then I'm using the Perfect Match. In this case, it's the gunmetal gray metallic. That's going to be my color for the brain pan and everything attached to it. So I'm waiting for about a half hour now. Let the self-etching primer dry and etch in, and then I'll be painting it with the gunmetal. Okay, I will come back after that's done and show you how nice that looks. Be back soon. Stay tuned. Okay, I've got the last coat of the gunmetal color metallic on these parts now. It came out pretty good. Gotta admit though, it looks shaking here. I don't know if you can tell it, but the finish looks a little textured. I'm not sure why it came out that way, but it's a good color, good even coating. I'm okay with this. I don't know if that's the sun bouncing off the metallic from outside, or it's just actually rough. Touch it up here. See, yeah, it is a little bit rough. So I'm okay with that. That texture, it'll probably match really good with the texture of the body of the torso. Plus it'll be inside the bubble. That'll, looking through that glass, will smooth it out. Got to be really careful with these paints, with the conditions, and follow the manufacturer's advice. For me, it was couldn't be above 95 degrees or humidity over 70. And I'm right at those levels right now here in South Florida. We have like 69% humidity, and the temperature is about 91. So, but it went on good. It dried. It's just that texture. I'm thinking that's probably because of the being at the high levels of our range there for applying. So anyway, I'm good with it. I'm going to let it dry the rest of the way and put all this stuff together, and I'm sure I'll be back again to give you another update. Stay tuned. More to come. Okay, we're back in the robot lab, and as you can see, I've got the brain cup pretty much painted, and I temporarily reassembled it again with the bottom on it. Don't have a pardon me, I don't have the bottom bubble plate on it because I'm going to have to take it all apart anyway. This is just a stand I made to temporarily hold stuff like this. So it came out pretty good. I'm happy with it. I think what happened with that rough texture was that I had the spray can too far away, trying to get a mist in between all these, and it just started piling up and not putting enough product on. So but I'm okay with it. I just kind of rubbed it down with my finger, and a lot of that came off. Looks good. I mean, it's a good match for the brain pan. It's exactly the same color, so it should be. So I think now my next step is to start assembling all this stuff and finishing up my wiring. I still gotta wire up the back of the brain top with the lights and wire it into get it wired into the loom. Let's see, it's going to go right here onto these. So okay, and I just wanted to step in here and show you how that's turning out. It's pretty happy with it. All right, hopefully next time I come on to give you an update, we'll have lights. All right, see you soon. Stay tuned. More to come. Hello everybody again. I wanted to come back from my work and just make a few notes and mention a few things with you guys. I am now currently wiring up the finger lights. They were all just wired together in hots and negatives, and he had blinker lights in here that would flash randomly. I'm using Tom's light board, which runs on a matrix style connection to get everything to flash randomly and give it different patterns and speeds and stuff. So that's all built into the board already, and the kit that he uses for the lights. So the problem is with the it's not a problem, but the thing is with the flashers, to get the finger lights to flash and be controlled by the board, I have to tie all these in to the board, and the wires coming down from the board, these will be hooked into the board up there. They'll come down into the cup here, and everything will tie together in here. This is going to be kind of my wiring box, so to say, which is good because I don't have any kind of motor in here like some guys do to run the finger lights. These are static. They're not going to be moving. It's just the way it was built when it was sent to me, and I don't have the ability to change that right now without getting a whole new cup and redoing everything. But anyway, one of the things to make the matrix work properly without blowing up is you have to have diodes placed in. So each one of these light sockets here has got two wires coming out, a positive and a negative. And I had to choose one of the wires and put a diode in there. These are blocking diodes to keep the electricity from running back and causing a short, blowing something up because of the matrix and the way it's switched and everything. So basically I had to separate all these, get them in, and then solder a diode into one of the wires coming out of the socket. I know that sounds complicated and kind of putsy, and it I guess it is, but it's really not too hard to wire if you have a proper example. And in Tom's instructions, he explains all that nicely and gives you a really nice matrix style pattern to follow, and along with colors, hook this to that. You don't really need to understand it. Just make sure you follow his wire codes and hook them up to the right places. And as far as where these get hooked up to, he gives you an idea of what you could hook them up just to anything, and they'd still give you a nice blinking pattern. But you need to have them in rows and columns. Okay, the rows are the ones with the diodes, and the columns are the ones without the diodes. So you need to keep that straight so they don't cross. See, you have your columns and your rows. So, and they intersect, and it tells you which light will flash if it gets to it with the colors. So again, it's complicated. It's hard to understand, but if you have a little working understanding of it and some guidance, it's really not all that bad. So I am now going to cut away and start doing all this stuff, and hopefully when we come back, I'll have some more stuff to show you. Don't go away. More to come. I need to add one more thing to what I'm saying here is you have to have these properly insulated. I'm going to use heat shrink tubes, slip them on there and shrink them down. So hopefully when I come back I will have more to show you. I know I will. So don't go away. I will be back soon. More to come. Well, I've got the brain cup and fingers attached to the brain pan, and all the wires pulled through after I put the board in there, the main brain board. A lot of wires you have to connect, but I do have one problem here, one issue. You can see that the top lid sets down really nice all over the place except for one spot, and that is right there. It's rocking on those servo plugs right there, the servo, I guess they're called servo leads. They plug into the Easy B IO Tiny there. They're too high. So, I mean, everything else fits in there really nice. The lid will set right down on the ledge everywhere except for here. So, what I think I'm going to have to do is possibly take those header pins out of there, kind of like I did over here on Tom's board. See how I did that? I took the header pins out and soldered the leads directly to the board and put a Molex plug on it. Probably gonna have to do that here too, just so I can get the pan down, the lid down on the pan. So I gotta pull that out of there and do some surgery. That's the only thing I can think of. So, all right. Well, I'll be back and we'll see how that turns out. Stay tuned. Okie doke. I've made my modifications to this Easy B IO Tiny. Like I said, I pulled out a header. I didn't do as much removal as I had thought I would. These pins here, the red and the black, those are laid in there separately from the digital ports that I needed. So instead of pulling the power for those relays off of this power and neutral, I'm going to take it off the main power input out here. That way it's not being driven through the board through these little traces. Not that it matters on those little devices, but I kind of like to power my devices off board rather than through the board. So, and it gave me a chance to do less damage to the possible damage to the board by adding more heat to it. So I just took out the I/O ports. I'm only running 3 digital ports that'll be controlling the 3 relays I showed you before. And again, I was drawing the power from the relays off of here. Now I'm going to be drawing it off board. It's basically, for this little board, it's 12 volts in, and the red, between the red and the black, is 12 volts out. So there's no voltage regulators here that control that power out. So it's whatever goes in comes out these ports here. I also took the opportunity to solder directly the little speaker, because that was sticking up pretty high too. It was rocking on that. It was the same height as these, so I soldered that directly to the speaker port. Added some heat shrink, and I also, along with clipping down the pins off of these power ports here, I clipped the pins down off of the ADC ports too. So now it's got a really nice low profile. I'll be able to wire in everything I want to wire in properly, and that lid for that brain pan should sit right down on there now without being obstructed by anything. All right, well, there it is. I'll be right back after I get all that put in there, okay? More to come. I'm not going to go really deeply into how I'm wiring up this lighting system. Everybody's is going to be kind of different depending on the system they use. Arduino, some kind of light controller they built. I'm using Tom Wozniacki's, I think that's how you say his last name, lighting board. Tom W. Pardon me. And his, like I said before, his system runs on a matrix style, which to some people is kind of scary, kind of confusing. And it is a little confusing, but the way Tom has it all written out, you can't go wrong. All his wires are color-coded, and he not only gives you a nice visual layout of the matrix here, what wire number goes where to what light, but he also has a word-by-word write-up. That's, you just pick out the colors, and you pick out the finger lights, and you just tie them all together. You can't go wrong. And what I've done here, and this is my way of doing it. Again, other people might have a different way. Tom actually describes a different way. He's got 4 columns and 4 rows. And I took all the wires and just temporarily twisted them together just to make sure I had them right. Double checked them. So these are the rows back here. And the columns are the ones I had to add diodes to. Let's see, there's a diode. You can see them diodes in there. Soldered them in, put heat shrink on them. So I got 4 rows here. And I picked out the proper finger light to attach to each one. So it's not as simple as just wiring one to one. You have to group them together. Some have 4 wires going to them, some have 5, some have just 2. So, but like I said, it's really easy if you follow the instructions. Okay, if you're using Tom's board, a lot of people do. So anyway, I'm not going to go into any more. These are the wires coming in. I got 2 wires going to be going in for power, and these are the only 2 that the person is going to have to unplug to get the brain off and the bubble. These other ones are going down to the sensor ears. So, I'm sorry, they'll have to unplug these two. I'll have a Molex plug for these and just some power pins, and it's just a matter of pop and it's out of there. So I'm going to start wiring, put it all together, and I'll be back. More to come. Okay, I'm back. I wanted to show you how much I've done so far. Actually completed quite a bit. I'm on the home stretch now. Got everything wired up, got everything mounted inside and wired. I got the lights working. Let me turn the lights on for you now. Just alligator clips. I just paused to let you hear that. I have connected to the network. That's the Easy IO Tiny hooking up to my network in my house. So you can see everything is working. All the lights are flashing in sequence the way I want them to. It's coming along real good. On the inside, if I can open this up, without blowing things up, you can see got everything wired inside, mounted. It's looking good. Here's the IO Tiny, EasyB IO Tiny. Here's the relays I was telling you about. Showed you those before. They're all hooked up and running. This is Tom's light board, and that's that little voltage regulator that's going to be switched on and off by by the IO Tiny there. So let me just put this on, and it's nice and compact in there. This will fit down really nice there now, and it's amazing how that fit in there. I've got the special effects working through Easy Robot. Actually, this is Arc right now. They've changed the name to Arc. I simply added 3 controls here. One is for the fast brain movements. One is for the power pack pull, pardon me, where all the lights slowly go dead. And this is the one that's going to be turning on and off to make the ear sensors move through that voltage regulator. And it's just I can have scripts running, like I have scripts here. Let me show you a really quick script. I mean, just something like that. I haven't written those yet. I'm just doing it manually, just on and off. But to connect to, I had to connect to that IO Tiny, which is right there. You probably heard that little dink in the background. And I can turn it on and off just like that. So let me show you, I'll zoom in so I can stay by my computer here. Okay, this is the first. That's the fast lights. You can probably see. I'll shut them off again. Slow down. You can do that to make him look like he's aggravated, excited, happy, thinking. Now here's when the power pack pulls, the whole robot's going to go dead, including his head section, like this. Slowly goes dead. Isn't that cool? Then slowly comes back alive after it's put back in. Power pack full. Put the power back in. What's happening? Oh, there we are. Okay. And then I don't have the ears hooked up now, so, but this is where I'm at now with this. Let me, and I also put the neck in, the neck pipe, and let me undo the power here now, so I don't have an issue with anything. So I put a joint in the neck right here, so a person can just pull this. Good Lord, I can't do it. There we go. Just pull this pin out, and I'll have a Molex connector in there for this stuff, so it can be taken apart. I'm going to take this brain off of here. I just have it temporarily screwed on there because I don't want no accidents. So I'll take this off. So I've got everything wired up in the matrix like I had said before. Set this aside. The glass, or sorry, the bottom of the will fit right down in there. The bottom, bottom of the bubble will fit onto there. Then this will go on top of it. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. This goes on first, then the bubble, then this screws down on top of it to hold it. But let's just picture all that stuff back up here, and you pull that pin and this will come off just like that. Boom. So there'll be a Molex connector that you can pull it apart and some power pins, and it'll probably be 2 plugs. This is going to be a 2-man job. One person to hold it out, the other guy to unplug it, and you set it aside. So it's just a couple pieces of PVC. That's a whoop, holy cow, one-handed. That's just the inside collar adapter, 1.5 inches, and I just drilled a hole through them and fit them all together. Did my measurements, and basically the boot will fit on there, and this will fit down into there. So when it's all together, this will all be one piece. So just push it up and take the bolt out. So that's what I've done so far on the head. I moved on to the bubble too, and we all know what that is. There's the big bubble. There's the base plate. It's upside down right now. This will go on here and be all bolted together. And what I've done here is I've drilled, it's hard to see probably, and tapped and inserted polycarbonate clear screws. Let's see if you can see that. So flathead polycarbonate screws. You get these at Master Kerr. I paid $10 for like 25 of them. And that's number 8. That's on the floor now. Well, that was number 832 by 3/8 of an inch long. And what I did here, I don't know if you can see very well, but I have a hole in the bubble and a hole in the bottom plate. And the hole in the bottom plate is open up big enough for that screw to drop through. And I've also got it, what is the term for that? You see how I've got it beveled in. Okay, I know that like I know my name, but I lost it. So I've I had a special drill that I opened it up with. Now that flathead fits right down on there flush. Countersunk. That's the word I was looking for. I countersunk that hole just enough so the top of that screw there screws down. And then I also, with this bottom plate off, I took and tapped, put threads. I tapped that hole for 832 NC. So it screws right down there now with just a flat screwdriver. Boom, 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 all 4 of them. And some guys are really nervous about that, but I tell you, it's really not a big deal. Just make sure here's the tips. I'm not going to show you how to do it, but here's the tips. You just make sure your drill bit is sharp. You start off with a small pilot hole. Go in slow. Don't rush it. Don't let your drill bit heat up. Once you get your little pilot hole done, then you can go bigger. I went right from a little pilot hole right up to 11/30 seconds, I think it is what I did for the main hole. The bottom tapped hole was a little bit smaller. So, but anyway, I just went up and I just took it really slow. I didn't rush it. When my drill bit heated up, I stopped and let it cool down. I went back in it, and it only took a few seconds, and I went right through it. And just go slow. Take your time. All right, that's where I'm at with this right now. It's time to put all this together now, and I will be back. Okay, see you shortly. And here it is, all put together. I just got to stand it on the robot without the torso, but I wanted to let you guys see how it looked, everything inside the bubble on. I don't have the bubble tied down yet with those screws I showed you. It's just sitting on there, but you can see how nicely it fits and sits. And again, I don't have the radar hooked up yet, but I'm going to put that in my next video, how to wire all that. I've got all the bulbs colored. I just used a orange magic marker on a clear bulb for all those guys. I still have to put the radar ears on there, this side and that side. I don't think I have them available here. Well, yes I do. I got a couple of them. Whoop, sorry about that. Basically, I still have to color them red and yellow, and it'll go right here and spin around with the motors. And the other one goes like this with the holder like that. So I still have to color those, paint those, and just screw them on. It's pretty straightforward. I'll show all that completed in the final video, I'm sure. But there he is. He is a beautiful thing. Gotta love him. So, okay, I am going to end this video now. And in my next video, we'll be wiring up the radar. And I'll show you how it works and how to do all that, okay? So, once I get done, everything will turn back and forth. It will be controlled for speed and position. Alright. One of the things I did is I improved, or upgraded rather, the crown. Now that's stable, it's not going to spin. But it is now a nice stainless steel crown. It came in pieces, all the fins. I don't know who did this, who built this kit. I really don't. I bought it secondhand from a guy who was just had a bunch of extra parts, but it's beautiful. Had to rivet all the pins, all the fins together, and it fits really nice. The other one that was on this guy when I got him, it was okay. It was made out of plastic or styrene maybe, and it was painted silver and textured. I don't know if you can see the texture on that. So it wouldn't have, I mean, it matches the way the radar is textured. But this being all steel up there now, that's stainless steel, and it nicely reflects lights and stuff. So it looks beautiful, it's nice. So, okay. Thanks for sticking with me for this build of my head section, okay? We will see you guys later. Have a great one. Bye.